Hello, everyone. My name is Wade the Wallaby, and welcome to another, I should say, stream, and of course, I should say, interview of my design of a project that I've been planning on for a while, and you probably heard of it, but if you didn't, I'm going to tell you what it is. Wolf Coyote. Well, why is it like that? Well, apparently, now of course Mars is red, but to go with the Werewolf Spaceplane project, remember the Werewolf Spaceplane project also has uh, a cargo bay. There's two versions of it. The citizen one, which basically carries citizens, and another one which carries cargo, just like the space shuttle that launches payloads. Instead of launching from Earth, they launch from the far side of the moon or anywhere around the moon. So basically, the Werewolf spaceplane goes to the moon and then deploys it because allowing it to have that delta V to get that much delta V to Mars. Now, this is just the estimate. I did the math. I haven't done the math yet, but it should be enough for a good idea for you people that are scientists and of course engineers would plan for this. But if you have questions now, of course, let's get started to the project. Um, Now, since of course I don't have any, of course, blueprints or fan art, I'm going to explain it by here and what it does. So the course of this mission is to do multiple things, and like multiple things that we would do on Mars if we were colonizing it, in doing testing if anything would work, just to make sure, just when we get there, we wouldn't never goofed up. So let's get started. First, the Werewolf spaceplane is loaded up with cargo. Now, this is obviously very interesting. Now, it's basically very small. If you think about it, it's about 3 feet wide, or at least about the size of me. That's how big the payload is going to be right now. So maybe about at least no, actually, it's going to be 5 feet wide, and about maybe it's going to be the size of almost a half of a yard. And you know how big a yardstick is, right? It's not that big if you come and look at it. So it's going to be a bit half and about 2 inches, just a bit bigger. Now it's going to look like kind of an oval because it's going to try to fit the fairing because the fairing is very small and the cargo bay is very small. Oh, I see a cardinal up there. Is that damn cardinal? Yeah, this is annoying me. Even my mom too. So as I'm going back, yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful day out. So yeah. Next part is the important thing. What is it? It seems like my yeah, so apparently if you could think about it, I'm stuck again. This is what happens when autism does this. I get stuck and I'll lose my track. Yeah, okay. So the spacecraft is going to be loaded on the Werewolf spaceplane, and it's going to launch. You've seen it before, so I'm not going to say what the Werewolf spaceplane does. I probably will have a link to that video, what it does, because that was before that YouTube decided to change the thing for live streams. God damn it, I have to do this. This is the only live streaming resource. If they remove this, I'm pretty much you know, yeah, but I'm not going to curse in this one. So, yeah, that's why I didn't put age restricted. Yeah. I was gonna put it on there just in case, but I decided see little kitties watching. Oh, never mind. That sounded weird. Um. So the plan is to get two crafts, or at least four, or no, five crafts on Mars. Now that is just a lot, but they're not big. They're small. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna try to do multiple things: watch movies, play games. Play games? What? Yes, indeed. It's gonna try to play any games, and it's gonna connect to Steam. Why would you need that? Well, to simulate if how long would it take, which would be minutes. Now, if we have a colony over there that loves Steam, that wants to play games like Team Fortress 2 or Counter Strike or all those classic games, not classic games, but all those shooters games, or like Skyrim or anything like that have multiplayer, would, if they were at Mars, and usually when they're downtime, they usually would play these games. Um, that bird. Um, sorry about that. Bird is just loud. Yeah, it's that bird. So I need to plan on for Mars colonization. Now, all the NASA people thinking that they could just go to Mars and they'll be fine, but there's a lot of things that, there's nerds, gamers, and all that stuff that it's going to achieve, like me. So if I go to Mars, how am I going to entertain myself for my downtime? You're out done working out outside, getting the oxygen tubes inside, blah blah blah, all that boring stuff, and then you finally go inside your habitational stuff, and you finally relax, and then you realize that it's gonna take 4 minute delay for. So if you're playing Middle Team Fortress 2, and you basically are gonna get kicked or basically disconnected like every single time, because it is gonna be it should be absolutely weird. But true, if but we're going to talk about what the spacecraft is going to do in the first launch. So we're going to skip ahead where it's going to be open the doors of the wearable spaceplane cargo bay. Bam. Okay, so um finally we have opened, and then finally we got to deploy the payload. Now, Wolf Coyote is the only name I could think of for the two probes. So we'll talk about what they do, and they're basically, I'll show you what they're going to do. But first, we're going to do the stage to the end, then that thing, which is a lot of branches to explain. Last staging. I'm going to have to probably create on Kerbal. That'd be kind of challenging. Okay, so it would detach, and it's going to have two stages for, I should say. One of them is called lunar lunar Earth to Mars ejection burn. Now, this engine is going to take out of the moon's gravity, and the wearable space plane is going to go back to land somewhere around. If there's a base anywhere, it will land and do its stuff if it has any payloads on it for any space it has. It's going to activate its engine, and that is actually a probe. Once that stages, there's antennas that come out, or already did because it comes out. And it has to be very precise. If it does, it has to be at least cool enough, or if it gets too hot, it will damage the circuits because it's designed for coldness. Because it has heaters inside. The same thing as Opportunity and Spirit. They had, heaters inside that infinitely work. We're not having that stuff on this stream here. I keep it clean as possible. So apparently, all right. So finally the burn has done, and it has solar panels around it, so it's able to recharge, and has a RCS thrusters, or cold gas, and oh wow, that's interesting. And we finally have the final, no, not final, but then that stages, and that will be as a relay for it. Will eventually has a camera, and if it does, it could fly by Phobos or Deimos. Yes, I'm a wallaby. Phobos and Deimos are basically moons of Mars. So, and take pictures, which we never got to have high resolution pictures around there. Or am I missing something? Or at least land on Phobos or Deimos. We haven't had any probes at all that landed on the surface, or even just roved around on the surface. Because, yeah, I don't know. Guess we're just focusing on Mars. But yeah, because, yeah. So apparently the other stage, which is called the Trans-Mars orbit burn. This thing is going to turn on, it's going to stage the other one that's going to probably go into orbit around Mars and may do some flybys as it's on its way. As then, of course, this is empty, sort of. It will have a little bit of fuel left in case if it needs to major adjustments, if it's going to hit something. And what's going to do the other half, which is where Wolf Coyote is. So finally, we have the final approach of Mars, activating the engine, and then, well, you guessed it. Don't know. Okay, so it stages perfectly, and uh, sorry, it's just really hard to think. Stages. I'm sorry. Really sorry about this. Hang on, let me think. All right, so sorry. I'm just really thinking right now. All right. So it stages that, and the engine activates. Um, Finally, we have the orbit burn, and at least as it gets to orbit, just like when Viking 1 and 2 did in 1976. I know the year. Um, oh, my neck. So eventually, it will reach the Mars, and now we are not orbiting it right now. And then, how is it going to get on the surface? Well, this is the point I basically have a problem. So we're gonna have to skip that area where it's gonna try to, well, at least, well, it's not gonna try to not waste any parts as possible. That's what the mission is supposed to be. It's not supposed to waste any parts at all. In fact, it's gonna try to use as much parts as it can to, you know, nothing wastes, on Mars. Nothing goes to waste on Mars. So finally, it will arrive at Mars, which I said that 3 times because I'm an idiot, and obviously, why would I say that again? So we're gonna have to skip completely where we entry. Finally, where entry has happened and parachutes deploy. Now, this is a pretty cool part. Now, this has a lot of multiple things. I'm not sure what could be epic or something, but at least trying to make it, safer. So both of them have engines. Um, 3 engines on the bottom. Now, apparently, that the if I have it like, okay, let me show you. So if I let me just get this right here, now I'll show you the so when the capsule like thing. All right, so it looks like this. So up here is a camera and stuff, the probe, and the other half over here is camera, probe, and I'll show you guys later. Wolf Coyote is actually on the bottom, and there are little spheres, little containers or cylinders like things with solar panels, and they're gonna what they're gonna do is they're gonna try to once that heat shield looking thing lands with the 3 rockets. In the 3 rockets, there's also gonna be a little plate to protect itself from the rockets. The rockets are gonna have gimbals, so they're gonna rotate and stuff to make sure that it stays stabilized, and the engines can have thrust, so they can thrust down or up by automatic systems, just like they did on Curiosity and etc. Possibly Curiosity's best explanation. So eventually, or Phoenix or Insight, for in fact, or I should say Mars Polar Lander, which basically failed. Um, so eventually, it will arrive. Uh, sorry, I'm just okay. Just finally arrived. All right, we already arrived. Why do I say that? I wish I wrote it down, but I'm just too happy to tell you guys. So now, of course, we do have that stage open up, and bottom half of the heat shield. That's where Wolf Coyote is, and eventually, it will finally move down and land. I'm going to be talking about this part, but I might forget the other part because why not? So first of all, we have this down section. The top we'll talk about later as it is coming down. Oof! There we go. We have a touchdown on the surface of Mars. Now inside are a few lots of stuff, food. Well, what's going to happen is there's a bunch of food that like 2 pieces of all sorts of food, eggs, meat, or all sorts of things. And what's going to do is it also can store it's going to be all stored in lead container, which can be removed by humans on Mars. Now, eventually, it's actually going to be called something like WM WA, which basically stands for uh I don't know, or MA, Mars Alpha, and the other one half is going to be Mars Bravo, and the third half is going to be Mars. Is there a third half? Yes, the probe is going to be orbit stage, which is OA, and orbit stage OB. So those things are going to be called that. I just made them up. Now we got Wolf and Coyote. Those are the main things, and we have okay, we have arrived, and then what we need to do is sorry about this. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I was just bored. Skip that part, please. Just skip that part, please. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. If that happens again, make sure to skip 10 seconds. All right. If it still is, just skip 10 seconds because I might do that for a while because my beard. If I shaved it, would have been much more better. But no, I decided to basically not shave it at the least bit of time. What the hell is going on around here? Sorry about that sorry for ear raping you. I just had to do that because why not? Let me fix that. Sorry. So let me fix that. Sorry. That's an airplane. That's an airplane. Okay, sorry. This is not going to go well, which is always happens when I do it. All right, so we have now we're gonna have to Wolf Coyote goes apart with the little struts, and they come out like a little struts and with a balloon, and then the wolf is going to go look for terrain, and Coyote is gonna go to the probes around on Mars that landed. It's okay. So okay, there's a bunch of gases inside the thing. So we're gonna skip really fast because I need to get this fast because I'm losing my mind. So at the elevation where the parachute is, and eventually what's good is there's several of them. So we're gonna have to flip it, and it's gonna land on its side using rockets. The same thing, and the parachute's gonna still stick on or come off. There's might be some other things, so I don't know about if there's that stuff. Okay, next is there's a rocket that say, yep, there is an explosive rocket that will have gunpowder or aluminum or any sorts of stuff, possibly for explosives. And these explosives are going to be used to explode the surface of Mars. I could talk about more explosive ingredients, but it might due to community guidelines of YouTube. So I'm just going to have to stick with aluminium and other stuff because there might be some asshole, I'm saying that. Sorry, I had to do that. Some asshole that is going to, screw up something and do a terrorist attack. And, we don't want that hurting anybody. So for safety reasons, I'm just going to have to keep it because I read about it and I know how safety features and how things work. So, but if you feel threatened about me, I'm very sorry. I'm not going to hurt you at all. In fact, I'm actually going to do the opposite. I'm actually, in fact, going to do experiments, such as I just said, putting aluminum or at least a subtype explosive. Gunpowder is the least a violent one because it is very used for or more often than any other possible explosion or explosive. but not gas. Gas will probably would dissolve before it would get there because it's gas. It eventually will evaporate. So we're not going to use it. So gunpowder is the good way, but hey, this is like for the NASA, so I'm guessing we could just use some type of explosive that might be like nitroglycerin, but that might be too powerful. We don't want too powerful, or else it's gonna the rocket is gonna take that explosive, is gonna hit that far away, and the rover is gonna take a picture of it to see what it looks like when something impacts it or crater. And it's gonna have the rocket fuel is gonna be gunpowder, or I should say solid fuel, depending on the situation, to save money fuel wise. And we're going to talk about non explosives on the payload. We also will have what is called the um, movie display. Now, of course, we do have a computer monitor on there. The computer monitor is going to display multiple things. It's going to be small, and the camera is going to be like here. And what's going to do is gamers are actually going to play on Mars, literally going to have to transmit 4-minute delay. Now that sounds ridiculous, but this is demonstrating. So if there's not going to be no OBS or anything, because we want to see actual footage from Mars in the background as you're playing a computer game on Mars. It'd be really interesting. Um, in fact, it would be amazing. So yes, it will may work. So how we're gonna keep all these? Well, of course, there's also a small TV screen, or it could be that monitor, because remember, computers can play movies. There's gonna be a Blu-ray movie installed. Wait a minute, Blu-ray? Why would you have Blu-ray? Well, this is actually gonna be a test to see multiple things. Now, the CDs and hard drives and well, there's gonna be CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, floppy disks, 1-inch floppy disks, um, circuits. No, wait, hang on. USB port circuits, a router, servers, etc., and even old stuff to demonstrate, or even VHS to demonstrate if one of them works. It's going to be encased. All these are going to be encased um, in a lead container to protect it from radiation. And it is removable for humans to take it off and put it back to habitational so they can watch the movies. Now the movies that are going to be uh, included immediately, that will have to be included, the ones that have to correspond to this great adventure. um, for some reason, we're going to have 3 copies of all the Twilight series from 2008, from 2012. Why? Well, because we can. And literally watching a movie on Mars is going to be ridiculous, and probably putting some, like other movies, Mars related. Why Twilight? Well, because remember, they was launched from the wearable space plane. To honor its launch, we need to, if it gets there and safely lands. There's also going to be, well, of course, why not? Since, of course, it's, Wolf Coyote thing. Um, it's also going to have Rampage, or at least the Blu-ray and other one. Uh, oh, come on. It's not silly. It is actually, well, multiple tests to at least to demonstrate of what can we do on Mars, or at least to, but it's not going to do that. Remember, it's also going to do some other tests, such as, how food reacts on Mars. That was at the other lander, but we're actually going to talk about the M uh oh, well, I can't shush because it would be boring with the stream, so I can't shush right now. Oh dear. Um so all those movies and possibly others, that could be, that is realistic, and all the above, people that want to choose. There can also be, inside the box is going to be a box that human can only access it, because remember, this lead box is going to protect it from dust storms and all that stuff. And there's going to be also movies on VHS. So yes, there's also VHS player to make sure that anything that works will work, and if all those don't work, then we will figure out something to put some entertainment on Mars. I mean, come on. Even though Matt Damon on The Martian, he only had one music. We're not gonna have that mistake on this time. We're gonna have movies this time, movies, music, but of course, copyright, of course. But hey, we can explain it and told the people, and then of course, bring it. I mean, hey, asking people, would you like to have your type of movie on Mars? I wonder how would they think, because we are going to. It's not silliness. It's actually possibly realistic as possible. And eventually, I'm going to be finally talking about Wolf Coyote. These probes are going to be the main mission. These probes are going to go on a voyage. Wolf is going to go to look for terrain and, and stuff. Coyote is going to look for human stuff, such as spacecraft or anything that's remained from us. Will be looking for. It's going to use a balloon. It's going to be used instead of helium. It's going to use hydrogen because hydrogen is much more lighter. Because of the thin atmosphere of Mars, it's going to have to be extremely large. It is possible, which actually happened on Venus from Venera. So yeah, we have done that on terrestrial bodies, but not on Mars. Um, and they're going to be very small, about this big, and they're going to have a camera on the bottom and a camera on the side for taking side pictures. It's going to have little fins and stuff to guide its way from the Martian atmosphere or Martian wind. And once it gets to a destination, it can hold its position. We'll try to. If it will find, it will first go to Mars Poor Lander. Shies, I don't know. My goodness, when am I ever gonna get this great? I did everything I could, and still it doesn't work. What do you want me to do? I did everything. It is gonna get strange. So of course, that mission is obviously, my work. But yeah, this basically is gonna work for any humans that are on Mars. The launch date will probably be on at least 2035. That's what our launch date will be. Because the first werewolf launch will be in 2030, and werewolf test will be at least from very close from at least 2 years later. But if I can't get anywhere from 2 years later, then I pretty much have to schedule it from at least 20 years, which is going to be a long time. And if I am not successfully, then I have to close down the werewolf project, and all this stuff will have to be closed down. But if you really like this project, please at least just sharing it to a scientist or at least a rocket engineer about this mission. If you're a NASA employee, please talk to my mom, or that might be ridiculous, but whatever. Okay, it's just I don't know who this person is, but whatever. So yes, I hope that you had of course, a little bit of stuck there, but I kept in touch. Even though my autism kit's a little bit ridiculous sometimes, but at least my brain kept in touch a little bit. Sometimes I stalled. We were ups and downs for a bit, but we got to a good place, and um, at least I figured out to finally document this mission. I've been thinking about this for at least months, and I mean months. I mean, like, maybe half of a year. I mean, this project is but the Werewolf Spaceman project is actually a bit more longer. It actually was actually no, the Wallaby project or Wallaby program project was actually a bit 3 years ago, or at least from 2 years. Yeah, but yeah, that project I have to tell you, and basically it's like a massive. Okay, but Yes, but yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you really are interested in space, which I hope you are, and if you're just interested, just being interested, I'm happy for you. But if you're a flat earther, I am not gonna. I mean, I probably shouldn't have said that because you're probably joking around that you are. So I'm just gonna have to just keep it to myself right now, and just saying um and stuff, and have a great afternoon, or let me see the time. Yes, take I should say have a great afternoon because it's 4:46 p.m. over here. If you're somewhere else, different country, I don't know what time it is over there because why not? So if you didn't like this, I'm sorry, but if you like this, I mean, come on, I'm a little stuck a little bit, but I could try to do better. Blah 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 and stuff, but we'll get there soon. Probably my mom will think this is boring, and I mean, honestly, this probably is the most boring as ever. But that's how space is. It seems like to people that play games mostly, like. But even though I play games, like what you guys play, except for the ones that are like, just like to play games. Not, I mean, even though I could, but if you're on Steam, you would have known what games I play because I always display all of my games on Steam. If you don't know if you want to see me on Steam, you might as well have to go to Skypix, follow me, and also go on to, or I should say, friend me on Steam. Follow me on Twitter at Wade the Wallaby. I should say, friend me on Steam, which is Skypix. Also join the group. Um, also join the group, and also if you are furry, how about you go to Step Ahead for Affinity if you have any at Wade the Wallaby. Um, but if Steam might be more accurate because I don't play Fortnite. I'm sorry about that because I don't play Fortnite. I don't play other games that don't respond to me. That's how I roll. That's how I roll. So yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, stop it, Wade. Don't do it. That's ridiculous. Why is it so ridiculous? Why does everyone have to die? They could have just lived somewhere else. No, we're fine. Oh, fine. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it gets ridiculous sometimes. Yeah, it gets ridiculous. Yeah, I'm just blanked. Blank, blank, blank. My mind is now blank. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, back to the werewolves then. Yes, I was watching something, but I was actually paying attention to that. I'm actually was paying attention to Mars and this crap here, which you probably can't see, but uh, and of course Mars. Yeah, this thing here. I probably will put the links right here. I'm gonna put it right now onto the chat window. Copy. This one is the one I was watching, which is this one right here. So you guys can take a look. Bam, and this one also that I was actually watching, started to watch. I didn't want to watch it, but I decided to put it on my moon missions, and you can guys can check it out right here. I'm gonna put it right here. Bam, right here. Bam, and those are the links that I was actually watching. So you guys can check it out by any means, and if you really want to see my other playlist and see the same video, go check out my playlist, Moon Missions. I spelled missions wrong because I was hurrying, and enjoy while you can. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in a wonderful live stream. Au revoir. Why does everyone have to die?